What's up, everyone? I'm looking at the camera. Everybody says, why don't you look at the camera? Because I'm looked down to read the comments, but I don't see the comments yet. But I'm going to start looking down here as soon as I start to see comments. So the other day, I'm minding my own business. Oh, wait, let me start here by the discount code for today's stream. Beato book, YouTube, Instagram transcription bundle is RB501. That's 50% off for today and tomorrow night till midnight. It's a 600 plus page bundle, and RB501 for 30% off the Beato ear training program. That's how I make my living, pretty much there, not on not on views. Okay, so the other day, I was drinking coffee. I was sitting here. I got my coffee right here. I was sitting here, and all of a sudden my phone beeps. It's about, I don't know what time it was. It was in the morning, I think. And I see James Taylor, and I've never tweeted anything about James Taylor. I love James Taylor. So I was like, James Taylor tweeted about you. I'm like, what? So I look at it, I'm confused. What is this? So I go to this thing. I'll show you the tweet here. I have it. Aaron helped me set this up. Okay, so it says here, a guy, Hugh McHaddo, I hope I didn't butcher that, says, Mr. Beato, have you heard of Leland Sklar's video block on YouTube? All that he has done was play bass over the James Taylor song in which he was the original recording bassist. Cheers. And then James Taylor's people, or whoever it is, writes, that's because YouTube music is matched against a database of copyrighted music and violations are automatically blocked. This even happens on James's own channel. Now, I'm the only person that responded to this at the time. I don't know if anyone has here, but it says, I said, okay, so change it. Does that make any sense that James gets his own videos blocked? And here's a weird thing. And then I said, doesn't he have any control over his own music? Just asking. I'm a huge fan, and I was watching a video of James just that morning about why he likes particular types of chord voicings. Which I was. It was so weird. I was thinking that, man, I was just watching James Taylor earlier today. And then he says, no, the artist doesn't own the rights. No, the artist often doesn't own rights to their own music. Usually the label owns it. Well, somebody else then wrote, I don't have it in here. That was a screenshot. Somebody wrote that he had sold his music to a hedge fund or something like that. I don't know. I mean, people do sell their catalogs to all different kinds of people. Anybody, if you have money and you want to buy somebody's catalog and it's for sale, you can buy it. That's just what it is. So Lee Sklar, let me tell you about. Lee Sklar is a great bass player, session player. He's been around forever. He played on everything. He's been playing with James for 50 years. I mean, 50 years. He has a great YouTube channel that he's been posting every day. He's been posting things about about records that he's played on. He's played on 1 million records. He still plays on records, right? And he was playing with James Taylor in 1972. Not only did he play on the records, but he went on tour with him I'm talking 50 years, right? He played on, I watched one video last week. I mean, I've been watching his videos regularly, but he did a video on Sussudio, Phil Collins, and he played the bass on that. And it's amazing. He is all over the place. So I'm going to play you his video here. It's a short video called I'm Pissed Off about having his YouTube video blocked. So here it is. This is Lee Sklar. Everyone, please subscribe to his channel. It's awesome. Let's see. Aaron told me how to do this here. I'm going to play it here. So check this out.
Say is Screw Warner Music Group. I did a video today of James Taylor's Your Smiling Face, which I was there when we recorded the song originally. I was with James. I gigged the song for 20 years on the road, and I was playing along with my part, and they said they pulled it for copyright infringement. So my gut tells me there will be no James Taylor on any of my videos, because obviously they've got people watching out for this stuff. It's absolute, total bullshit. And I'm sorry. I really enjoyed making the video. I always love playing the song, and this is making me start to question a lot of this stuff. I'm so weary of the police. I mean, I go through this with Facebook. I cough and I.
Okay, so he's talking about the fact that he played. He was teaching the bass part of "Whenever I See Your Smiling Face," James Taylor song that he played on. I mean, it was recorded in the mid-'70s, right? And it was blocked by Warner Music Group. Okay, so the question is, does James have any ability to do anything about this? That is really the thing here. Now James says, well, the record label owns it, but then he talks about the publishing, right? He says no, the artist doesn't often own the rights to their own music. Usually the label owns it. Well, that's not really true. The artist owns the rights to their music, right? The sound recording, in this case, who knows if they own it. The question is, why is James Taylor tweeting this when I had nothing to say about this at all? Why did he respond to this thing with me on here, right? When I didn't mention this at all. I think that a lot of people took Lee's video and tweeted it towards James very similarly to the Led Zeppelin video, where they took Lee's video and they tagged James and Lee on this. And it got back to James. This is what I'm assuming. I don't know this for sure, and then he saw. Then when they tagged me, thank you, Walker, appreciate that. When he tagged me, there was. I'm not sure why he tagged me in this. Why he would be. I don't know what the logic is here of even bringing this up. He probably should have just ignored this. But the fact of the matter is, why are you preventing someone that played in your band that you've known for 50 years and played on your records, came up with his own parts? I mean, he came up with these parts on these songs. Lee Sklar did. If you're not going to let somebody like that talk about what they played on your own records, I don't understand what is the point of promoting your own music? What is the point of that? Why rely on radio at this point in time for people that are these classic artists? Why do you should be glad that people like Lee Sklar, who's got 50,000 followers on his YouTube channel, and some of the videos have been get a lot of views with him talking about these things. This is really cool when he explains about his bass parts that he played. When he talked about Sussudio with Phil Collins, he talked about meeting Daryl Sturmer who played guitar on there. He's a great guitar player, in the elevator on the way in, and then he talked about that they had all this programming going on, and he said that I don't know how he came up with the bass part, because it sounds like a synthesizer. It's amazing. I mean, it sounds like a keyboard's really busy part on Sussudio. He talked about the fact that that the word doesn't mean anything. And this is really educational stuff here. This is the guy that has played on all these famous records, and he has something historical to add to this. That people like James, and frankly, even if he sold his catalog to a hedge fund, why is the hedge fund not, I don't buy that he has no control of that. I don't think I don't believe that that's true, that he can't do anything about that. I really don't. Yes, the label can own the sound recording. No question about that. That I'm sure that they can prevent things from getting played if they want. But why do the labels not want to have these things played? I mean, really, where else are they getting their music played at this point? On playlists for classic rock, On, I mean, yeah, obviously there's a market for James Taylor, a huge market for James Taylor's music. He's one of the greatest songwriters ever. I just don't see that there's any point, even if it's James does not have the rights to this, if he doesn't own his publishing from this, and there is someone else, a third party involved, why are they having it blocked when it's just great publicity for it and it engages new groups of people into following your music? So that's, to me, that's really the most important thing. If the video gets played, right, the rights would go to James. Lee isn't trying to make money off this. He just wants to teach the songs because he's stuck at home with nothing to do, with no tours to go on. So James is, either James or whoever owns his publishing is going to make the money from it anyway. So like on the What Makes This Song Great videos on my channel, the artists, the writers make the money on this, and they should. Okay, I always want to reiterate that I am pro artist rights. The only thing I have a problem with is the blocking, because the blocking, when these are purely educational things, and tell me that a bot can't tell the difference between, a bot can recognize when another instrument is added to the mix, right? If he's playing his bass along with the track, let's just think about this. You write a program, it can recognize, oh, there's somebody's playing over this because there's extra sound that's not part of the actual track, right? So that part of it can be done. You can also tell, the bot can also tell that there's talking that happens before the song. If somebody just posted the song illegally, take it down. I got no problem. Layla, I'm doing a live stream, baby. So I have no problem with that. I have no problem with them claiming the monetization on it and taking that. Absolutely. I'm pro writers, things, but when you get into blocking for videos that are obviously educational, I would say that that's absolutely, thank you, Aaron. I would say that that's absolutely fair use, what Lee is doing there. No question about it. For those of you that just joined, Leland Sklar, please follow his YouTube channel. He's doing great stuff he's doing really, really great stuff where he's teaching his bass parts that he played on all these famous songs. He's been a session guy since, I think, 1972. And the funny thing is, he's still doing sessions. He still does sessions all the time. And he's on so many famous records. And he has a point of view that is really important. You want to learn these things from the people that were there. There are people that are creating records today that are people. I saw somebody mention Billie Eilish here. I keep seeing it pop up in the sidebar in the chat about Billie Eilish's music. Okay, so she and I guess her brother produced her record, right? So they're creating this stuff on their own. Well, I would want to hear from them as well about how they created their own music. You guys might not be interested in Billie Eilish, but I'm interested in the way I'm very interested in production. That's the thing that beyond songwriting and beyond musicianship, to me, production is extremely important to the way that music is presented. And it doesn't matter what the genre of music is. We just had a big jazz day yesterday. You said all these jazz musicians were putting out videos and things like that. And there were jazz producers and famous engineers. Rudy Van Gelder made all the Blue Note records pretty much. I mean, there's some great, Tom Dowd, who was a famous rock producer, was also a jazz producer. And, I want to hear from people that do contemporary production. I've done videos on Bruno Mars. I did videos on Max Martin production. I love modern production. I was a producer and still consider myself a producer mainly. So beyond the learning about songwriting, beyond learning about music theory, I really believe that production, that the techniques of production are really, really important as well. By the way, I make my living from this. Aaron just told me, mentioned the sale. Beato book bundle RB501 is my discount code for today. 50% off my 600 plus page PDF bundle. It's got my, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram. It's at Rick Beato 1. I'm trying to get to 200,000 followers. Actually, I'm not trying to do anything. I hit 160,000 today, but I'd like to get to 200,000. And you guys can help me for those of you that don't follow me. But I do a lot of guitar playing on there, and a lot of the guitar things that my improvisations are transcribed as part of that YouTube Instagram transcription bundle. That's in there. And also 30% off my Beato ear training course. Okay, same thing, RB501, today's date. I want to call out a couple other channels too. I told you subscribe to Lee's channel. Also, my friend Keith, 5 Watt World, he's at about 85,000 subscribers. I want to get him to 100,000. You guys should definitely follow 5 Watt World. He does great documentaries on instruments. And he has other things about videos like how many guitars do you need that are fantastic videos. And Keith came here to my place, to my studio about a year ago when he had 400 subscribers or 200 subscribers. And I gotta take a drink. And I'm really hoping I know he's going to get to 100,000. So you guys should follow 5 Watt World. Okay, so I'm going to take some questions here too, because I see all these super chats. Thank you everyone for the super chats. James writes, love your video breakdowns, start tinkering DAWs, your production, so your videos are extremely helpful. My videos do deal a lot with production, no question. I mean, that's part of it here. Okay, Warren writing says, thank you so much for getting this 55-year-old back into playing guitar. Very welcome. J77, the whole world is cringe these days. Politics, copyright strikes. Dogs and cats are really living together, like Bill Murray said. It's craziness. Lantertronics. I love the way you're antagonistic towards particular music styles and teach general principles of composition and production that can be applied across many styles. That is really ultimately what it's about, because production values don't really change that much. A lot of the techniques that are used in modern production are, if they're created with, whether they're created with plugins or they can be created with, here's my newest instruments here. Where is my thing here? This is my new keyboard I just got. Look at this thing. It's actually pretty awesome. I'm going to make a video about it. But production values and production techniques are really don't change depending on most of the principles are the same. EQ, compression, whether it's sidechain compression, doesn't matter. You're using these things constantly. The context of how they're used is different, but the essential basic principles are the same no matter what the genre of music is. Whether you're listening to contemporary pop music, whether it's Cardi B or you're listening to John Coltrane. It doesn't matter. Those production values or production techniques are very similar. Let me see here. JD Raipe, R-E-I-E-P-E, thank you so much. Ronaldo, thank you so much. I'm looking at the super chats here. Let's see here. Did I get all of them here? Okay. All right. So let me see here. My opinion on Billie Eilish's songs and production. I'm going to do a video on Billie Eilish at some point. Reapy. Thank you. Appreciate that. Nimble Fred, thanks for your knowledge. You're very welcome. Okay, so people keep posting the same things in here about Billie Eilish. What makes this song great on Jellyfish? So Jellyfish, for those of you that don't know Jellyfish, they were an incredibly great band from the early 90s. And the bass player on the second record, Spilt Milk, which is a fantastic record that you guys should know, lives right here in Atlanta. He's been on a bunch of my videos. And I know Roger Manning, who is the keyboard player, and they don't have their masters. So I've talked to them about doing What Makes a Song Great with Jellyfish, which I am going to do at some point with them. I'm doing an interview with Tosin Abasi later today that'll be up on my channel. And any of you that have any questions that you want me to ask Tosin, let me know. For those of you that don't know Tosin Abasi is just an incredibly great guitar player, visionary guitar player that is not only a guitarist, but also in instrument development. And I think most of you probably know who Tosin is that follow this channel. Or maybe a lot of you don't know who Tosin is. If you don't know Tosin, you should check out Tosin Abasi and his band Animals as Leaders. But he's just a fantastic, fantastic guitarist, progressive metal with all different influences in there. He actually went to school here 10 years ago or so. Tosin's 37, I think. So 10 years ago, 15 years ago, so at the Atlanta Institute of Music, where Rhett Shull also went too, but not at the same time. Tim says, I'm also in my 50s, grew up with 4 older brothers and sisters, closest sibling 5 years from me. They were huge. Influence in your music. This classic music is extremely important to keep alive. Well, I think it's really important to. I think it's important to study to be fluent in historical traditions of music, no matter what it is. As a jazz musician, you would always study the lineage of players. Okay, if you were, when I was growing up, there was John Scofield and Pat Metheny that I was interested in, and I say, okay, and George Benson. Well, who did they learn from? Well, George Benson was actually one generation before them, or not even one generation, half a generation. Well, they were into Wes Montgomery. Well, who was Wes Montgomery into? Well, he was into Charlie Christian and Django Reinhardt. Then you're basically back to the beginning of jazz guitar. Then you have to go to blues guitar after that. Keith says, even after the industry, many of people involved here have not figured it out how music and money work on the internet. They just shut everything down. Well, it's not just everything, because most things are not blocked. Most things are not blocked. So don't just because I've had things that are blocked myself, it doesn't mean that everything is blocked. Very few things are actually blocked on YouTube. They just are. But it tends to be that it's older artists. Now, somebody just said that tweet did not come from James Taylor. Okay, well, let's talk about this for a minute. Okay, so this is James's thing here. Let's see here. Hold on. Let me open this up. Okay, so if I go here, this says run by the official James Taylor team. Okay, this is James Taylor's Twitter. James is on Twitter all the time. Okay, he is. He posted on Twitter 16 hours ago. There's a thing that says, it's down below this, that says that he posted 16 hours ago. You can't see it on there, but he did. He is posting on Twitter, or his team, but him personally, because there are pictures that he put up there himself. He is posting on Twitter. So to say it's not James Taylor is not right. He sees what goes on his feed, for sure. Trust me, he does. If he's making his own posts, he doesn't put out that many posts. He must have seen that. Or the people that are doing it felt it was important to respond, because they probably were they weren't getting backlash from me. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know why he responded to me on that. Before I would not have said anything. People were posting, were tagging me with the Lee Sklar video, and I had seen it, but it was, Lee had said what he had to say about it, and it was not any of my business. I talk about my own things when things of mine get blocked, and Lee did a great job putting out the video. I'm pissed off, and his video came up in my feed. I'm subscribed to his channel, And so it came up my feed. And as soon as I saw I'm pissed off, I said, oh, what is this about? So my friend Michael Palmisano, those of you that don't know Michael, you should subscribe to Michael's YouTube channel, Guitar Gate. He just texted me. He says, that's wild that James' own channel said he doesn't have control. I know. It's like, come on. Baloney. Not true. He doesn't know what goes on his own Twitter. Okay. I don't believe it. So a couple other super chats here. What makes it sound great? Whiter shade of pale. I've got some news about that. You have any plans on doing what makes it sound great for post rock bands? Red Sparrows, Russian Circles. You know what? I had Russian Circles in one of my videos already. On my Power Trio video, I had Russian Circles in, and that video's done pretty well. Michael says, question for Tosin. How does he combine theory knowledge with feeling in his playing? I will ask him, Michael. Van Stone 2000, you have a great channel here. Do you think internet radio bring more rock to people's ears than mainstream radio? I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the statistics on that. I don't know, because I'm not sure that you can. I'm not sure what you can talk about as far as people's listening habits on Instagram. On Spotify and iMusic and Apple Music. I'm not sure if there are statistics out about that. I'm sure that they know them, but I don't think that your general public knows about people's listening habits on there. So Ryan says, can you please do a video on configuring compression for bass while playing live? Absolutely, I can. I'm going to do a video on compression and bass for sure. Let's see here. Let's see here. So a quick tip for EQ on very low-tuned guitars. Anything that's low-tuned has, it depends on how low it is. Let me give you an example. A low E string, the low E string on a bass guitar is 41 hertz. Okay, the low E string on a guitar is 82 hertz. Okay, now, if people have a subwoofer, 40 hertz for a bass for a low E is pretty far down. Okay. If you're recording to tape, historically, it would start rolling off around 60 hertz or so, the things, meaning there's a gradual slope off where the low end starts, depending on how your tape machine is biased, would be rolled off with a certain steepness of a curve, depending on how it's biased, and maybe there's a bump in a certain area or so. But with an 8-string guitar, you got to think of it whatever the low string is, find out what the frequency is, and that's where the fundamental is. Okay. Now, when you play a bass note on a bass guitar, we'll just talk about bass guitar, right? When you play that low E, if you drop it down to a low A, some people tune down to B. A 7-string guitar would have a low B. Well, a low A is 27.5 hertz. Okay. This starts to get into the area that humans can't hear below 20 hertz. So if you can't hear below 20 hertz, what you're hearing, you're not really hearing all that information as well. And it takes a lot of energy to produce those frequencies. Okay. It takes the energy from a power amp, for example. That's why you have to turn your mixes up really loud to actually hear if there's any masking going on in the bottom end. All right. You can have a mix. You can mix at a low volume. And I say that you should mix at a low volume, but at some point you have to turn up mixes to really hear the bass frequencies. Okay. So that way you'll know where to EQ if you need to, what I call high pass, or give a low cut in the low end of either the guitar. Okay. If you have an 8-string guitar and you have a bass player, what you don't want to do is you don't want to have those two things fighting against each other. So at some point you're going to probably, put a shelf on the bottom end of that 8-string guitar, and you may put a shelf on the bottom end of the bass. It may be at 30 hertz or so, but there's just a lot of information up there that can't, can be masking high frequency information and taking energy away from your mix. This is I need to do some videos on this. I did a video called What the Pros Know About EQ, or what every professional musician should know about EQ, something like that, a long time ago. It's done very well, but I need to do an updated version on that where I talk specifically about things about filtering and things like that. That is really for any genre of music. It doesn't matter what it is. Chris says, Omnivore Records, Mixed Jellyfish. Hold on, wait, is this here? Oh, geez, there's a lot of stuff here I missed. Jellyfish stacked A sides, C minus vocal versions. Could that work for What Makes This Sound Great? Those guys didn't mention that to me, that they had the tracks for that. So I don't know. Jim, thank you so much. Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Dwayne, what's up, Dwayne? Oh, you're awesome, Dwayne. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Dwayne Blake. Let's see. Bert Garrison says, one thing often overlooked is people discover songs from watching the video and go buy it. That's true. They go buy it or they go stream it. Yes, totally agreed. Joseph says, love your music theory, teaching skills. Thank you. Thank you. Tal Wilkenfeld interview. Working on that. I don't do that many interviews. My interview with Tosin today is going to be one of the few interviews that I do. I have a podcast that I'm getting ready to launch, which I'm going to tell you more about. I actually have a podcast. If you go to you can find it. It's on iTunes, iTunes or Spotify. Okay, really quick. I'm almost done here. Listen to song. Let's see, Vanstone 2000. Listen to song from Yes called Great Guitar Players, Outstanding on it. I will check it out. Okay, Ken, thank you so much. Okay, this is awesome. Subscribe here if you haven't subscribed. You guys are amazing. Like I said, my Beato book and YouTube transcription bundle is on sale. That's the way I make a living. Really, one of the only ways I make a living. The discount code is RB501. 50% off my YouTube, Instagram Beato book transcription bundle. So it's 600 pages. If you want to support the channel, that's a good way to do it. Also, my ear training course is 30% off with the same discount code. You can follow the thing in the description. All the links are below. You guys are amazing. Keep on these people. Twitter is really important for changing stuff here on the blocking. This is another great example of people tagging, because of Lee Sklar's video, tagging James Tailor on Twitter. So they knew about this. They knew that this was an issue. So they wanted to respond to that probably before I was the one that came on and said something about it. I have no beef with James Tailor. Love James Tailor. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Watch my Carnival video. Carnival is awesome. See ya.